I want to throw it to you right away, jumping into just the talk of tariffs. You break it down for me here, and then I'll talk to you about how I see it kind of from an agent side of things.
Yeah, so what I've put up here is just kind of what we're facing in terms of the tariffs, because there's been a lot of talk about this tariff and that tariff. So I wanted to kind of paint a picture of what we're really looking at here. So we've got the border security and the fentanyl tariffs. Those are potentially coming back on March 4th if Donald Trump feels that Canada hasn't done enough. Then we've got the new one, the aluminum and steel, where we're looking at 25% tariffs coming on March 12th. Now, the thing is, if they end up slapping tariffs because of the border and the fentanyl and doing 25%, let's say across the board, or 10% across the board, that's going to go on top of the 25% tariffs on the aluminum. So if they do 10% across the board on March 4th, aluminum could be 35% tariffs on the 12th, which is pretty significant.
Yeah.
Canada ships out the vast majority of our aluminum and steel to the U.S. economy. And then we've also got April 1st to look at. What the U.S. is doing a report to see where are all the trade imbalances and where can we potentially, what products can we potentially tariff for our benefit for the United States. So that's another one coming out on April 1st. And then why? Why are they all doing this? Well, Donald Trump's talked about an economic union with Canada, the 51st state. Another thing is the taxes. He's promised his country a lot of tax cuts. And in order to pay for those, he's thinking that potentially he can do tariffs. So he's put a couple things out there. It's hard to tell exactly what Donald wants. I think he just wants better trade deals and also to pay for those taxes. But, Canada does rely heavily on the United States as a trading partner. Unfortunately, we've gone kind of all in with them as our trading partner. And he's kind of exposing Canada that right now. He's exposing Canada because we don't really have a stable leadership at the federal level. So he's really grinding the gears to Canada right now, and it'll be interesting to see how this government responds to it.
Yeah, I think, not to, again, now from my perspective, if I'm talking about it from the real estate agent side of things, and at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we're still giving great advice to people, right? And at the end of the day, uncertainty is not something that most markets enjoy. Stock market the same, housing market the same. When there's not a lot of buyer confidence, that can shake things up a little bit and leave it a little bit harder to make a decision. And we talked about this on our last call. Is at the end of the day, real estate agents are great at discerning the market of the moment and being able to evaluate what's going on currently, where your house might be for sale, or where you might be looking to make that purchase. And if those things all still point to you being able to what you want to achieve, try to let some of this noise get out of the way. Because at the end of the day, life doesn't care whether interest rates are up or what's going on with our economy. And there will be times where people need to move for whatever reason. And so we need to be able to still give advice for those people to make that decision. And it comes down to evaluating your local market. And even as we break down all these stats for the different areas that we're going to be looking at today, I want you to remember part of the reason why we're breaking it down further from what you see in the news is that these blanket statements do not serve you for your market, for the product that you have for sale. There's stuff that Matt and I have talked about where we look at and it's like, oh, okay, that's rough. There's a lot more active listings. We're up 48% in this area, 70% in that area. And then I look at a couple pockets where I'm working for sellers right now and I'm like, guys, there is nothing for sale like yours. It is a great time for you to be on the market, right? We've seen a couple homes sell over asking. We're going to talk a little bit about homes, the percentage of homes that are selling over asking versus not. And again, when you get into those local markets, things change dramatically. And Matt, I know that you agree as we take a look specifically at some of the opportunities specifically around Barrie and Simcoe that you've been watching.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. There's been quite the pullback there over the last little while. I think that the hollowing out on prices and people maybe coming back to the city from Barrie has already kind of happened there. And we're going to see in the charts that we could be potentially seeing a bottom and moving to the upside, especially when it comes to the detached market.